And ladies and gentlemen, the Double RT Boxing Show with Mr.A. Episode 11 will begin shortly. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Enjoy. It is that time. It is ready. Talk boxing right here on the Double RT Boxing Show. I am your host, Mr.A. You are either a subscriber or soon to be new subscriber who's hitting that thumbs up, turning it blue. Appreciate it. Yes, I do. Look at that. Today's episode, we are going to be discussing the cancellation of a Frank Warren card, the names mentioned in the Amir Khan run-ins, a little bit of discussion on Miguel Berchelt got a new opponent, a championship opponent, champion versus champion, a little switcher for that February 10th date. And where does this leave Magali Roman? We'll talk about that. Also, we will be discussing the hot lineup that Showtime boxing has delivered for half the year. And what's even good, that these fights don't even have a full undercard. So good little fights to come in the first half of 2018. 2018 has jumped off to be very, very promising. So let's start this show off by saying, once again, you are watching the Double RT Boxing Show. I'm your host, Mr.A. It's a minute 50. You should have already hit that thumbs up. Let's get this show supported. Now we're going to start the show off with good old Amir Khan. He is at it again. His name is out there again. Amir Khan never had a really problem at keeping his name in the limelight. You know, like I said, I always praise fighters who keep their name relevant, whether it's good, bad. Well, better is boxing related good than just bad. You know, AB is an example, Adrian Broner, of keeping his name relevant for bad news and not even bad boxing news. Where Amir Khan is always calling someone out, keeping his name relevant, even though it's a meaningless call out, but his name is always being discussed about that fight. And like I said, my number one example of who's not keeping themselves always relevant is Demetrius Andrade. You know, if he's not fighting, at least talk a lot like Amir Khan. Amir Khan has been, he signed up, of course, with Eddie Hearn, the 3-fight matchroom deal. And I believe it's coming back on the April 4th. So it's the same date as the Frampton and Donaire. Now, all the talk is about Amir Khan. You know, he wants to come back big. He doesn't need a tune-up. But the only names to publicly say anything about it, I wouldn't necessarily say they're big names. Now, I get it. Everyone is tied up. It's kind of hard in that division to land a name on a short notice. The only big name, if he's serious and talking about he doesn't want a tune-up fight, he wants a name. But Sean Porter ain't taking fights. He's letting me know he wants Keith Thurman. So the names that have publicly talked about Amir Khan negotiations have been Phil LaGreco and Sammy Vasquez. Now, Sammy Vasquez says he said yes to everything at the fight at 147. Now he's just waiting for the word back to him. So he's from my understanding, there's like 11 or 12 guys in this hunt. You know, and they just asked me if I'm interested. I told them yes. They threw the money and everything. He didn't break down to what the money was, but he just said he agreed to everything in the terms. Now it's just they let him know if they picked him or not. Well, Phil LaGreco, he says no. he wants more money because they want the fight at 147. He's Phil Greco, he was fighting at 160. He thought he had to drop down to 154, considering that's what he's at. I figured that's what Kell Brook was at. That's the big fight everyone wants to see. I don't know why Amir Khan's at 147. For me to drop down from my heavyweight to 147 in a healthy fashion, I'm going to need a better team, nutritionist, train a better, conditioning coach, and I'm going to need more money for that, for me to get into that weight healthy, in a healthy manner. So he's asking for more money, and that's where he's at on the Amir Khan running. So out of the two names mentioned, everyone thought it would maybe be Adrian Broner. We found out Adrian Broner is tied up due to the Showtime announcements. So where else can Amir Khan go? If it's these type of names, I'm not too sure, but I think Sam Egerton has a fight, but that'd be a nice little domestic little money maker. But that's where Amir Khan and Eddie Hearn has us right now. Sammy Vasquez and Phil Greco. How do you feel about those two names coming back with Amir Khan? Very, very, very unexpected, I shall admit. That's very unexpected. Now, this next topic, I kind of got a little mixed feelings about it. The February 10th, Frank Warren's card got canceled. It was Alani TT. It was headlining it. It had Anthony Yard on it. Of course, when you see Anthony Yard, it has Daniel Dubois on it. Bradley Skeet was on it. And now, if you follow this show, and if you do, hopefully you're a subscriber, and if you follow the show, you're aware that I am a Bradley Skeet fan. I like his style. So when I heard the fight got canceled, I was kind of disappointed that I won't be able to see Bradley Skeet. And speaking of Bradley Skeet, he has it because he did basically everything you can on a domestic level. Now he needs that next level test, and it's going to be a big American name opponent, and he has it a tough road ahead for him because he's not ranked in the WBA or the WBC. Where he is ranked is the IBF and the WBO. He's number 6 for the IBF and number 3 for the WBO. And right now, Spence is the champion for the IBF. And everyone is pretty much penciling in Crawford to be the WBO champion over Horn. But, it was Horn who Bradley Skeet and Frank Warren says Horn's team skipped him and chose Gary Corcoran, and that's Frank Warren's fighter as well. They're like, hey, we'll fight your fighter, Frank, just not Skeet. We'll take your other fighter, the number 10 guy. So I still get you that money. So Frank Warren's like, hey, I want Skeet to get that fight, but I'm not going to turn down the money from my stable. So he gave the fight to Gary. So that's a opportunity missed by Skeet. He could have had that shot at a world title the same way Jeff Horn got that title shot. Everyone thought he wasn't deserving it, but he earned it. He fought the fights. He got the little trinket belts. And that's where Bradley Skeet is right now. And Jeff Horn, instead of giving him the shot the way Manny gave him the shot, Horn went right past him. So I was kind of disappointed in not seeing Skeet get that shot, or at least just see him get more ring time. See if he's improved. Now, and also the cancellation was Anthony Yard. Well, Zolani TT already withdrew from the card before the card got canceled. He was having calf problems. So he couldn't make it. He couldn't do the training camp. So they tried to go forth with the card, but they couldn't get Bradley Skeet an opponent. No one was willing to step up and take that chance. Now, Anthony Yard had an opponent. Now, Daniel Dubois, he had an opponent as well, but he was getting sick, and he wasn't able to train the last weeks of his training camp. So, with Zolani TT pulling out, injury for being forced out, no opponent for Bradley Skeet, his hot top welterweight, and his big heavyweight prospect, his cream of the crop heavyweight prospect, being sick and not being able to get a successful training camp. He didn't want to send him out there not looking his best with a chance to lose, especially since which is pretty hot news, pretty good juice for me. I like hearing the smack talking, especially right now since Daniel Dubois, like I said, he's only 5-0, I believe it is, looking real impressive, but he's still a very young prospect. But with the curse of being so dominant, people want to see more. They want to see you do something different. Like I said, he has been fighting smaller guys, so maybe some cruiserweights that put on weight to come up, because no one's willing to take that low risk, low reward fight against him. At the same time, they're still building him along slowly the proper way, Frank says. But with the fame and the hype building and building, you have Gorman, Hatton's fighter. They already got a little past history. I guess they sparred, and that's slowly two hot prospects building up. Once it, and then out of nowhere comes Joy Joyce and saying, "I beat Daniel Dubois. I finish him. He ain't ready to see me." And that is really nice. Joy Joyce is 1-0. He has some experience in the World Boxing Series, a 2012 Olympian. So it is very. I know people gonna say no, that fight won't happen. The way the boxing is right now, it is fast track city. The records don't mean nothing as much. Only. I think it's okay to throw people in there at the 10-0 mark, the 8-0 mark, the competition. As of right now, it's Daniel Dubois 5-0. You got Joy Joyce saying he could beat him. I think David Hay and the Haymaker Promotions, Haymaker, was it Ring Star Haymakers, something like that. I think they will make that fight. Now, will Frank Warren, will he put Daniel Dubois? Because everyone hears the stories how good he is in sparring, how real deal he is. Will he put in the ring with Joy Joyce? I am very intrigued by that. Joy Joyce got the 1-2. He has the movement. He's a little light on his feet. He has the lateral movement. But with his 1-2, his head is there. He doesn't always have the nice slick waist movement. Would Daniel Dubois be able to cut the ring off, neutralize his movement? Will he be able to work the body of the more elusive Joy Joyce? That, to me, that is a really, really good fight. Yes, they could try him as they boxing term marinated, but Joy Joyce is 32. Daniel Dubois is 20, I think now. So Joy Joyce ain't got too much marination in him. He needs fights now. I know David Hay already has him booked for 2-3 fights. I believe he's on. I know he's on the Bellew Hay too. So anywhere you see David Hay, you're going to see Joy Joyce. That's his main little signing. So I was really happy. I was really happy to hear the call out of Daniel Dubois. You know, get some real good buzz on him again, because he's starting to get the show me something different talk. Even though he's, like I said, he's only 5-0, 6-0, I forgot, but it's like, okay, show me something different. You know, show me a little more repertoire. Show me some better setups. Show me some footwork. Show me something. He's taking these guys out with no competition, and so hearing this call out and then having him fight kind of very recently after this call out, it would have been nice to see a good performance, or what type of if he had a bad performance, you could, you know, Joe Joyce could have commented on it, and it could have been the feud could have been right there. It could have been some fuel on the fires, just start to smoke right there on February 10th. So I was a little disappointed in not seeing Daniel Dubois for that reason. Whereas Anthony Yard, I didn't mind not seeing. He didn't look too sharp to me in his last fight, and he needs the improvement. I know that sounds weird, where I'm saying throw Daniel Dubois in there now and save Anthony Yard, but last fight to me was the test where I could say, okay, Anthony Yard is not exactly what I thought he was. His last fight, I saw him get hit a lot. His cracky defense. Maybe this fight against Joy Joyce is the fight where I see that in Daniel Dubois. Like, okay, yes, slow Daniel Dubois down now, because I see why you guys didn't want him to fight. You know, because can he handle the move? Can he handle a move? Or can he handle, you know, the 1-2 and then float like a butterfly? You know, 1-2 float, 1-2 float. So that was a little disappointing for the February 10th of Frank Warren. And also, keeping it into some Euro news, good old keeping your name hot mentioned, good old Tyson Fury. You can always rely on Tyson Fury to keep some interesting news out there. Quick little tidbit on him. He just straight out told Eddie Hearn and Parker and Team Joshua, 60-40, my favor, the fight. That's it. If you don't want it, don't talk to me. And just like that, we're going to move on, because that's how Tyson Fury was. So 60-40, that's it. Back to February 10th. Now, we're going to talk about the super featherweights. Take it from a Euro, we're going to move on over to the States. Miguel Berchelt, he was scheduled to fight Christian Mares. That fight didn't fall through, and they were looking for an opponent, and everyone assumed it was going to be Roman, Mickey Roman. Everyone assumed it was going to be good old Roman to fill in. He's just got rid of Salido, but no. Miguel Berchelt will be taking on Carlo Magagla. So, if you watch this show, I just lost a prediction because I picked against Carlos Magagla. He just fought on the 13th. He's the Oriental Pacific Boxing Federation Super Featherweight Champion. So he just defended it with a 10th round knockout over Masatoshi Katana. And so he fought on the 13th, and now he's going to fight less than a month calendar on the 10th against the WBC champion Miguel Berchelt. So talk about daring to be great, or is it a cherry pick on the team Berchelt? Very, very interesting call. I don't know.